What's up, YouTube? It's me, KC, and I'm back with another video. And in this video, I'm here to give you all my thoughts and impressions. And this is also a review of the Sony press conference for E3 2014. Now, let's just touch up on the highlights of everything that I felt that was important to me during this whole press conference. Let's talk about Little Big Planet 3. Let's go ahead and get the elephant out of the room. They announced Little Big Planet 3. Little Big Planet 3 looks like Little Big Planet Part 3. I was never a huge fan of Little Big Planet. Because, with each installment, I'm just the game is specifically for, you creating the game. So, no matter what installments they come out with, you're creating the game. What more can they add to it? And they brought in some new characters, and they look hilarious. The new characters that are alongside with Sackboy, it's not just 4 Sackboys running around. It's 3 different looking guys, and they look very hilarious. It's great that Sony has some kind of game to appeal to kids as well as adults, and it looks like Sony's trying to get people back on the bandwagon with Little Big Planet again. And this time they have some fire under their butts this time. Back then when they had released Little Big Planet or showed off Little Big Planet, they were pretty much in 3rd place in terms of how much money they were making. But now they're in the lead as far as they are the lead with the consoles of the most sales for the PlayStation 4. So now they probably want to try Little Big Planet again, and I bet this is the best time to do it again. The game looks pretty much the same, new characters, and this time you can move in the background and foreground a little bit more. They say you can move around in 3D space a little bit more on the game, I guess. But you can't move in 3D. Maybe that would be for a Little Big Planet 4, whereas you can design your own 3D kind of realm. Something like 3D Mario games or something like that. Who knows? The sky's the limit with Little Big Planet. Until that day happens, who knows? Let's see. They showed off a couple of multi-platform games, and I really hate when games are showing off on stage that aren't exclusives. Get that crap out of here. The main things I hate is spending too much time on indie games, spending too much time on free-to-play games, and spending too much time talking about media or spending too much time on multi-platform games. That's just something that I just really don't like about E3. The press conferences. And they did every single thing that I said. As far as the multi-platform games, you have Far Cry 4 being shown off on stage. I was like, ooh, okay, big deal. And then you had, what was another game that was supposed to be on there? I wanted to say Assassin's Creed, but I don't think Assassin's Creed was shown on stage. It was another multi-platform game that was shown on stage that I was like, oh boy, not this again or whatever. They showed off a couple of indie games, and I do kind of get annoyed with indie games. I really do want good indie games to be successful. But the ones that are crap, please stop showing them, please. It's such an abundance of indie games out there. You don't know which ones are good. I don't know, man. I wish it was a better way to advertise indie games. There is no other way. And I guess it's just a necessary evil just to show indie games on stage. I just don't know about them. Some of them look hit or miss. Some of them could look amazing. No Man's Sky that they showed off on stage for PlayStation or Sony's press conference. That game looks amazing. I've seen it before. and they showed it again off on stage. And that game looks amazing. Amazing. It's made by an indie developer. That game looks great. But, you know, like I said, it's always like the visuals. You know, you look at an indie game, ooh, that looks great. You play, you're like, what did I just play? You know, it's just a necessary evil. Their games got to be put out there too. I mean, it could be crap, but they have to be advertised some way. So I spent too much time talking about that. Let's talk about Suda51's game. I forget what it's called. Let's go ahead and have a look at what they showed. I am looking right now for the Suda51 game that they've announced. Okay, next Suda51 game. Okay. I'm on IGN, people. Hang on tough. Please hang on tough. Okay. Oh, jeez. They don't even have the game. Okay. Let It Die. I think that's what it's called. Let It Die. Coming exclusively to the PlayStation 4. This game looks very gritty. I couldn't tell what was real and what was not real. The game looked that real, or the game looks like it was like people were actually playing the roles of those characters. And I think I'm afraid to see this in the future, that actors may actually play the roles of certain games to the point where, as when you get the game, you know, you just like, what the crap, I thought this is what I seen in the trailer. And those were actors, but this is how the game actually looks. So if that was in-game graphics and those weren't actual people acting out what was going on, the game looks very weird. Like, you're chopping up people and you're like getting points. It's made by Suda. I'm not a person that's just like, oh my gosh, everything this person makes is golden. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that kind of guy, because I love Suda51 games. I love No More Heroes 1, 2, and I like Liberation Maiden. I love Lollipop Chainsaw, but I did not like Shadows of the Damned, and I did not like Killer is Dead. I did not like those two games. So this game looks weird. It looks too surreal. You're chopping up people. I'm just like, okay, I don't know. But it's an exclusive nonetheless, people. It is coming out for the PlayStation 4. The Order 1886 or something like that looks like more on the lines of a survivor horror game. I did not know that this game would be on those kind of terms. Really, I did not. But it looks like a simple third-person shooter. I'm just like, I might as well just go play The Evil Within. I just want to know what their gimmick is. In a trailer that we seen last year, we seen like sparks fly or something like that, some type of electricity. So maybe that's their gimmick in the game. The game needs a gimmick. The game needs something to set apart from the rest of the crowd. And I just did not see it with that trailer. It just looks like a third-person survival horror game fighting against some kind of zombie-looking, mutated, mother-flipping person. I don't know. So that's what I seen. We got an upscaled version of both The Last of Us and GTA 5 coming out on PlayStation 4. And I was just like, okay, those games came out last year, upscaled. These people are going to buy the game again. Yep. There you are. Now, if they release those games and say, hey, if you already bought this already, all you have to do to upgrade, all you have to do is just spend $10 or $15 and you got it. Now, I think that would be a good deal for upscaling. But if they don't do that, I mean, dude, that's a freaking ripoff. Let's see. Uncharted 4 got announced. That was all the way at the end of the PlayStation Sony's E3 press conference, and they're back in the jungle again. Thank God, oh my goodness. I was like, oh my goodness, this may be Uncharted 1 because I hated Uncharted 2. I never played Uncharted 3, but I liked, and I love Uncharted 1 because, I don't know, I think the area just suit the game well, and I did like the plot twist, and I did like the story. I need to actually go back and finish that game. I was playing it just for a little bit, and then I just stopped playing it. I beat it once, but I was going through it for a second time, but I just stopped playing it again because I think another game had came out. So I need to go back and complete that game. It looks like he's back in the forest again. That looked great. But the other games that they showed, as far as like multi-platform games, Batman Arkham Knight looks freaking awesome. Dude, he was up in the Batmobile. He jumps out the Batmobile and starts gliding around. I was like, oh, that game is going to be so good, but it's multiplayer. Okay? It's third party and it's multiplayer, you know? Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation 4, and they didn't say PlayStation 3, so I may have to end up getting a PlayStation 4, people. It's no choice, really, man. Like, I don't want to miss out on these third-party games, and none of the first-party in-house titles really appeal to me on Sony platform, for real. And of course, you know, I have a slight bias towards Microsoft and what they did with the whole DRM thing. I'm just so against them, for real. No matter what they come out with, like, I'm just so against them. The PC, I want to be a PC gamer, but they don't get everything. They do not get everything. And what is getting everything, for sure, 100%? Sony's PlayStation 4. So that's what I'm probably going to be getting for the third-party games. But as far as, like, the first-party titles, nothing really appealed to me that much. And let me take that back. Games appeal to me more than the Microsoft press conference, okay? But, oh yeah, they announced Sony's TV also, so that's coming over here. That's very nice. They showed that at the Tokyo Game Show like last year, a couple of months ago or something like that, and it's coming out over here, okay? So that's awesome. But like I said, the games appeal to me more on Sony platforms, a lot more than they do on Microsoft. But at the same time, I'm not wowed by anything that they showed in the press conference. For real, I'm not really stoked and hyped. But those games appeal to me a lot more. But if it was between the two, Microsoft and Sony, who showed the most games, it was Microsoft. But Sony did show a lot of exclusive titles. Also, you know, they showed off Destiny and all that stuff. I think that's on PC also. So that's not really an exclusive. They showed off like 5 or a couple of exclusives, but Microsoft showed off more exclusives for their press conference. But I don't know, like between the two, it's all dependent on preference. I will give this conference I want to give it a B minus because it was like boring as heck. But they showed a good amount of games. Those small amount of games compared to Microsoft appeal to me a lot more, okay? But Microsoft showed off games nonstop. They weren't stopping. They didn't have any pauses or anything. They were all about the games. They didn't talk about nothing else. Sony's press conference alone was kind of boring, okay? But they showed off games that were appealing to me a lot more. So to judge off the press conference alone, Microsoft beat Sony at the press conference. Let's just keep it real, people. Let's keep it real, all right? But in terms of games that appeal to me a lot more, although Microsoft showed off more games, they didn't appeal to me more than Sony's games appeal to me. And it's funny because though Sony's games appeal to me a lot more, but I don't really care about all of those games or exclusives that they announced. Also, I think some game called Bloodline or something like that was another new IP that they showed off for Sony. The same people They made like Demon Souls or something. That game looked great. Like I said, those games appeal to me a lot more than Microsoft. But I was not wow, like whatever. And then what is it? This holiday season, nothing is really coming out for the PlayStation 4. I really don't care about the freaking PlayStation 4 now. Like I said, third-party games, multi-platform games, I'll probably be getting a PlayStation 4 for that. But as far as like exclusives, come on, man. It's the same thing with the PlayStation 3. Exclusives here and there, but I mainly bought the systems for the multi-platform games, and that's why I'm probably going to be buying a PlayStation 4 pretty soon, or maybe this year or next year, to get those multi-platform games. Probably by the end of next year, I don't know. Then I'll probably pick up a PlayStation, but I am in no rush to pick up a PlayStation 4 at all. I'm just looking for the third-party games, and they have them on there. I mean, it's on all the platforms, but they have it on PlayStation 4 also. So, like I said, to judge on conference alone, Microsoft wins. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Sony's was pretty much boring. It was a snooze fest. But they picked it up with Uncharted. Okay? To judge on games alone, although Microsoft showed the most games, Sony's games appealed more to me, so therefore I like Sony's a lot more. So I will give this conference also a B, just like Microsoft's press conference. And then we're in the same situation as last year. It depends on what's your preference, because both conferences had games. It depends on if you like Microsoft's games more, or you like Sony's in-house studio games a lot more. It just depends on that, because they both showed off games. Although Microsoft showed off more and Sony showed off theirs, but whatever. I mean, it all depends on what your preference is. And that's all I have to say. Really, there was no winners or losers. It all boils down to preference. And my preference is Sony. So, with that being said, I will be back for Nintendo's press conference tomorrow. Probably get that video up sometime that afternoon of how I felt about the digital event, because that'll be going on over at like 11 o'clock CST over here. And I'll talk to you guys later, and I'll give my review of that. Peace.